Hello, welcome back to another pregnancy update video. I know I'm meant to be starting this video at 21 weeks and I'm not quite there yet, but I've got my 20-week ultrasound today. It is the 8th of February and I am 20 weeks and 2 days. So yeah, 20-week ultrasound is after work today. I'm so excited. I'm only a little bit nervous. I'm not as nervous as I was for the other ones because I've been feeling the baby kick like pretty much non-stop the last week-ish. So I'm not too worried. Like, I know that they're in there because I can feel it all the time. But obviously I'm still worried that like something could still be wrong even though they're kicking around in there. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. But it does put my mind at ease a little bit. The other thing that's making me really happy is that I always get an update, or not an update, I get a reminder text the day before, and because we've been like in and out of lockdown and different alert settings recently in New Zealand, it always includes like whether or not you can bring someone. Because we're in red, I assumed we couldn't bring anyone, and I think that's what I said in the last portion of the last video as well. I just assumed. But the reminder text yesterday said I can bring a support person. So Jonathan can come too, which is so exciting. So we should be finding out the sex today as long as baby cooperates. I'm not going to share it. We're going to keep it to ourselves. Like, we're literally not going to tell anyone, not telling friends or family or anyone at all. It's just for us, but hopefully by the end of today we will know. So yeah, now I just have to get through a day at work. I haven't told the parents of my new class yet. I'm hoping to wait until after today's scan, so from like tomorrow. Yeah, I might formally tell them like at the end of the week, but from tomorrow I'm happy for them to know. Hopefully they don't work it out today. I am wearing something that kind of shows the bump a little bit, just because I don't want to wear a dress to an ultrasound scan and have to whip it all the way up, so I'm wearing a skirt instead, which shows the bump more. So hopefully they don't work it out today. But yeah, I will catch you guys after my scan, hopefully with a big smile on my face. Is that my background music while I talk? Okay. We just got back from the 20-week scan and everything looked good. Like, no problems at all. Everything was there. Looked at the heart, the brain, the kidneys, like literally everything. Looked really good. We found out the sex, which we're not sharing. But yeah, we know. Now we've got to try not to like say it by accident to anybody. So we're literally not telling anyone. But yeah. Do you want to add anything?
No, it went really smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, and baby wasn't cooperating like fully. It was like head down and in a bit of an awkward position, but the lady still managed to get all of the measurements and everything that she needed. So yeah, I don't have to go back. It's all done. Yeah, got a midwife in 2 days. And I guess we'll like talk about the results then as well. But I don't actually know when the next scan is after this. This is probably it for a little while. But yeah, I'm so relieved, so pleased that everything is looking good. It is almost the 13th of February. It's like 11:30 on the 12th, so I'm counting this as tomorrow's update. I was gonna wait till tomorrow, but then I thought, it's actually way more realistic if I film it now. And that's why I'm kind of sitting down every week to talk to you guys, is because I want it to be a little bit more real time rather than like sitting down once a month and trying to remember all of my symptoms from the last month. So my reality right now is that Auckland has had like some of the most humid days on record the last like week or so, and it has been so hot, and our bedroom is at the top of the house, which obviously is where it is the hottest. So last few nights I've literally been sleeping on the couch. We pushed the two couches together, put some blankets down, brought my pregnancy pillow down. yeah, so I have not been able to survive upstairs in the bedroom. Plus we also have the heat pump in the lounge room, so if it's still like too hot in the lounge, just being downstairs, then I can also put the heat pump on, which one of the nights I did have it going for the majority of the night. So that's my reality. The other part of my reality right now is that I was trying to sleep, because obviously it's 11:30, it's almost midnight. I was literally trying to sleep and couldn't get to sleep because this baby will not stop kicking me, which is a good thing. I love it, but it is keeping me up. So I thought, well, since I'm awake anyway, may as well film this little update now. So in half an hour I will be 21 weeks pregnant, so I'm past the halfway point now. And obviously I did jump on and talk to you a little bit earlier in the week, before and after my 20-week anatomy scan, which, as you heard, went really well. I also saw my midwife a couple of days later. It wasn't actually my midwife, it was a different midwife, because my midwife had to go to her son's wedding. But the midwife that I saw had a look at my scan, and absolutely everything looked normal, like within the normal ranges for the gestational age. So everything was looking good with the scan. She did the heartbeat again. Midwife appointments, I don't know if they're going to get more exciting as I get further along, but midwife appointments so far are pretty boring, like not a lot happens at them. They do play your baby's heartbeat, which is nice, but then they just like take your blood pressure, they find out how much you weigh, and they give you the piece of paper, the reference thing that you need. What's it called? Not a reference. Referral, that's the one. They give you the referral for any like scans or blood tests that you need to get. So they're really not the most exciting thing. I'm just trying to find my notes from the week to see what I wanted to talk to you about. I've got my notes. All right, so from the start of the week, I was able to feel the kicks from the outside, because like I've been able to feel them from the inside for a week or two now, a couple of weeks I think, but even from the start of this week was when I started to be able to feel them like on my hand, if I put my hand on my belly, so I could feel them from the outside. So that was like right at the start of the week, and then the very next day I think was when Jonathan felt it for the first time, and the kicks have been getting stronger and stronger all week. I still don't feel them a lot when I'm like actually at work, so I go like whole days thinking that I haven't felt anything. Then it gets to the evening and I'll have a bunch of kicks, or like it gets to the weekend and I'm like, oh my goodness, these kicks are non-stop. But they have been getting stronger, which is why at this point now, if I'm trying to get to sleep and I'm being kicked, it is actually pretty tricky to get to sleep. But it does also mean that Jonathan feels the kicks pretty regularly now. He because we've just had the weekend, so he feels them like multiple times a day when we're home together. So that is really nice. I think I already said that we found out the sex of the baby, so that's really exciting for us as well. Just for us to know, you know, we were going to be excited either way, but it's just something that we know now, which is lovely. I had another calf cramp. I had one at school, because I know I talked about, I had one last week as well that I already told you about, but yeah, I had a second one while I was at school, and it was the same kind of thing. Like the cramp itself is quick, but the pain lasts for quite a while. The pain was like a full day. Like every time that I went downstairs, I would feel it again. I also told my new class and their parents the day after I had my scan, so because all the kids wanted to know where I was, and you know, it's a brand new class and they haven't kind of learnt to be polite yet, so they just ask you all the questions, and I was like, It doesn't matter at this point, it's just going to be way easier if I just tell them. So yeah, they all know, the parents are all pretty excited for me. The kids seem pretty excited for me too. I've had a lot of little hands on my tummy all week, which not my favorite, you know, being constantly rubbed and touched, but you know, these kids are 5 and 6, they're still learning, so it's alright, they're not trying to be rude or anything. Yeah, so basically the whole school community knows because it was also in the newsletter that went out on Friday, so yeah, it's not a secret from anybody anymore. Absolutely everyone will know by now. Oh, the midwife said, because I asked about scans, I was like, everyone knows about the 12-week scan and the 20-week scan, but like what happens after that? Is that it? And she said yes, for a low-risk pregnancy, that is it, that's all you get. She said my midwife, as like a personal preference thing, she likes to get people a scan, like a growth scan at 32 weeks, so I will probably end up having that. And yeah, I'm gonna jump at that if that is an option, because I don't think I can go half of a pregnancy without a scan. But yeah, so it's gonna be 12 weeks until the growth scan, from 20 to 32, which is a long time, but I guess at least I'm feeling the kicks pretty much every day at this point. Well, I am. It's not pretty much. I am feeling kicks every day, so it's fine. I know that everything's probably fine. And in between, it's just midwife appointments to check that everything's okay. They just measure like the size of your belly, which they haven't started doing yet. But she said they'll start from my next appointment. They'll start measuring my belly to check that the growth rate is in line with where it should be. And the very last thing that's happened this week, which literally only started today, so right on the very last day of being 20 weeks, is I've started having Braxton Hicks, like the Braxton Hicks contractions, which I was not expecting. I don't know, like I know they can happen this early, and I know for some people they happen earlier, so I don't know. It still caught me by surprise. I had 2 today, so they happened for the first time today, and I had 2. And it is the weirdest feeling. The first one, actually both of them, I thought it was just the baby. Jonathan was downstairs and I was sitting on the couch, and this is the first one. And all of a sudden, it felt like the baby just moved into a really, not a weird position, but it felt like the baby kind of turned around, had their back on the outside or their bum or something pointing towards the outside. And I thought there was basically just a lump in one area of my tummy. So it was not the entire uterus at all. Like it didn't go from side to side. It didn't go from top to bottom. It was just one little area, one hard bump. So I assumed that the baby had just moved into that spot and then turned their back, and that I was feeling the outline of the baby. And I was like, Jonathan, this is really weird. And so he came up from downstairs and he felt it. And I was like, feel it's like squishy over this side and hard on that side. And we both agreed it was very weird, felt strange for me. Lasted about a minute and then it was over. And then it happened again after dinner in exactly the same place. And I said to Jonathan, it almost feels like Braxton Hicks, except that it's not the whole uterus, because I just assumed the Braxton Hicks would be the whole uterus. And so he was like, well, look it up. So I did. I looked it up, and turns out Braxton Hicks doesn't need to be the whole uterus. Sometimes it is just one area of the uterus. And the more I kind of looked into it, the more I think that's definitely what it is. Because apparently they're meant to last about 30 seconds. My first one was a little bit longer. The second one was probably about 30 seconds. And you know, it's quite common for it to start around now as well. Yeah. But oh my gosh, it feels so weird. It doesn't hurt. Well, it doesn't yet. It might do later on, but it didn't hurt today. but it really was the weirdest feeling. And some of the things online say it feels like period cramps, because that, I guess, is the same thing. It's like your uterus cramping. My period cramps don't feel anything like that. Nothing like that at all. It was a very bizarre feeling that, and it was not like anything I've ever felt. And the best way for me to describe it is it felt like the baby had curled up and was just sitting and pressing against that one area. Because you know kicks are like fast, but imagine if they were to like stretch and continue pushing in that area. So it feels like something's pushing from inside, but in like a larger area, so like their whole body rather than just a foot or an arm. And that's obviously why I thought that it was the baby, but I don't think that it is. I don't think they're strong enough to kind of do that kind of a movement yet, so I guess it makes more sense for it to be Braxton Hicks. But why is it not the whole uterus? I don't really understand. But anyway, that is my last symptom for the week. These updates are always so long because once I start talking, I get so excited and then I just want to keep talking. But I should probably let you go because otherwise these updates really do go on for far too long. So yeah, I'll catch up with you in the next week or so. It is the 20th of February and I am 22 weeks pregnant today. That means, because I found out I was pregnant at 4 weeks, I'm now halfway through like knowing that I'm pregnant. We had our first full week of school this week just been, because the first couple of weeks we had public holidays, so they were shorter weeks, but we did our first run of 5 days and I was okay. Like, I didn't get really shitty or anything like I thought I might from being like super tired and just being like out of practice of doing so much work. But I was okay. I was tired by the end of the week, and I think that's also the first time I've done 5 like early morning, like being woken up by my alarm, like 5 in a row. So yeah, I struggled a little bit with getting up a couple of days, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, so it's fine at the moment. I did continue having Braxton Hicks a few times. I had them, some days I noticed them twice, some days I haven't noticed them at all. I did a little bit of research about Braxton Hicks though, and apparently they actually start around 6 weeks, but it's just that you don't notice them until later on. So it's just a matter of when your body starts to like actually feel them, but supposedly they've been happening for quite a while. I don't really like Braxton Hicks. They feel a bit weird. Maybe I'll get used to them, but definitely a bit strange. I've had quite bad baby brain this last week, especially at school. Like, I think there's just so much that I've got to try and remember at school, and I'm just not remembering it at all. It was really funny one day actually. My class thought it was the funniest thing. I have these like magnetic dates that I put on the whiteboard each day, and I always take down yesterday's one, ask the class what the next number is, so put yesterday's one at the back, grab today's one and put it up. But one day I took down yesterday's date, asked them what the next number was, and then just put the same one back up again. So, and the class was like, that's not right. They thought it was so funny. And then one day I left my water bottle in the bathroom, and I had no idea that I'd left it in the bathroom. I was like looking around the whole school, like all the places that I'd been trying to find my water bottle, couldn't find it. Anyway, finally went to the bathroom after school and saw it, and I was like, oh, that's where it's been. Okay, well now I've got it at least. And then I literally went back to class without it. And I got back to class and I was like, I didn't bring my bloody water bottle with me. So then I had to go back to the toilet to get it. And I just keep doing things like that at the moment. I'm starting to like notice my tummy. I don't want to say it's like getting in the way, but I'm definitely noticing it when I'm doing regular things. Like when I sit down, I'll feel the bottom of my tummy like touching my legs, or I don't know, if I'm like trying to squeeze through a gap, sometimes I'm like, oh, my tummy bumps into things as I'm going through. So it's definitely starting to become like more noticeable from like a practical perspective, but it's not like hindering anything yet. I feel like we're not far off that though. In terms of weight gain, I've only put on 3 kgs so far this whole pregnancy. My weight has not changed in almost 2 weeks. I actually weigh myself every evening, and it has been the exact same number for almost 2 weeks now. It's a bit crazy. So I'm expecting any day now it's gonna kind of shoot up because it hasn't changed in so long. It's meant to be about half a kg that you put on a week. And I'm pretty much on track, but because it hasn't changed in so long, yeah, I'm just kind of expecting one day I'm gonna get on the scale and it's gonna go up like a whole kg or something. But yeah, 3 kgs so far, so I'm not particularly heavier than I was pre-pregnancy. What else have I noticed in the last week? I'm starting to feel the baby kick even when I'm in class. Like, even though I'm like busy, and you know, up until now I hadn't really felt them kick when I was busy, when I was working, but they're definitely getting stronger because yeah, I definitely feel them move every single day. And it's now not limited to evenings when I'm working. I will sometimes feel them in class. I'll be like walking around and I'm like, oh, baby's moving. So that's quite nice. And some of the placements of the kicks, like, I don't know what I expected, but you can really tell where the kick has been aimed. Like, there was one last night that was aimed at my bladder and I was like, oh, okay, that one was a bit strange. And yeah, like, some of the internal ones that aren't coming like out towards the skin, some of the ones that are going like in or down, like you can really tell where the movement is. It's cool actually, but it is, some of them feel a bit strange. Anyway, that's pretty much me for 22 weeks. It's the 27th of February and I am 23 weeks pregnant today. So in the last week, I have been more exhausted than I had been previously. I think it's mostly from the heat, to be honest, because I know I'm supposed to be feeling pretty good right now during the second trimester, and I had been mostly, but yeah, I think this week the heat has just been getting to me. We had days that were like 29 degrees, which is pretty hot for Auckland, and like home is okay because our aircon's really good at home, but at school is a bit of a different story. So I had one day in particular, it was so hot, I think it was the hottest day of the week, like Wednesday I think it was. By the time school had finished, I was just exhausted. I like got to the stairs on my way back to my class and I was like, I don't even think I could get up these stairs. Anyway, so by the time I got home at like 5 o'clock or 5:30 or whenever it was, I was shattered, and I had Braxton Hicks like constantly that whole evening. I had so many, and the internet said if you have more than 5 in an hour to contact the doctor. So my, you know, pregnancy doctor obviously being my midwife, so I contacted my midwife and she called me and said it's okay as long as they're not painful, which they weren't. It's probably just caused by like being really active and not having enough rest, and she was like, just try and rest as much as you can. So I've been trying to take it easy, which as a teacher, like, you just got to do what you got to do. I take it easy in the weekends, I take it easy when I'm not at work, but I think definitely like doing my job is not restful. But that's okay, I'm just doing what I can. The day after that, so Thursday, I was really like hormonal and emotional, and I think it was just like, again, still because of the exhaustion from the day before, so it took me like a day to recover from that. Yeah, I think hopefully it is just because of the heat, and hopefully it won't be as hot in the next couple of weeks, but I think while it is still this hot, I really need to take every opportunity to rest. In terms of discharge, I've had to start wearing like liners every day pretty much because there's a lot. Something really exciting though is that we can now actually see some of the kicks, which is so cool. I really didn't expect to be able to see them for a few more weeks, but they're definitely getting stronger. And yeah, like Jonathan and I were feeling the kicks a couple of days ago, and he was like, I wonder if we can see them yet. And we were both like, surely not, like surely it's too early for that. We were like, let's just look and see. So we waited, and sure enough, yes, we can see, not all of them, it depends on like how strong the kicks are, but definitely some of them are strong enough that we can see them. I did manage to get a video of one of the kicks, which I'll insert here. It is really hard to see in the video. I'll try and put like an arrow pointing to the spot where it happens. I've started getting back pain, I think just from the added weight and like the shift in center of gravity, I guess, because you're being pulled forward a little bit more. So that started in the last few days. It's pretty annoying actually, because even on days where I like am not super active, even on days where I've been able to sit pretty much the whole day, I'm still having back pain. But it is what it is. I'm expecting it to get way worse. I know I talked about my weight gain last week and I hadn't gained any weight for quite a while. I have now gained almost 4 kilograms in total. So we did have a little jump from last week. What else? I am a little bit sick. It's just started like today basically. I've got a runny nose, a little bit of a sore throat, and COVID is running rampant in New Zealand at the moment. So I did take a COVID test this morning. It was negative, thank goodness, because like, yes, although I'm vaccinated and boosted, I don't want to take the chance of like finding out how COVID is going to affect my baby. Like if I wasn't pregnant, I probably wouldn't be so worried, but I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid it the whole time, because so many people that we know have it now. But I want to avoid it for as long as possible. So I was really worried the test was going to be positive today. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing in terms of work, because on one side of things, being pregnant and having a bit of a cold, I probably should take the next couple of days off. But on the other hand, my cold is like really mild at the moment, and we have so many staff away from school because of COVID tests or household contacts that we really can't afford to have more staff away. So I don't know. I'll see how I feel like this evening and tomorrow morning, I guess. But it's just like, it's a fine line to walk. Like, obviously I put my health before the good of the school, because my health is important, especially when I'm pregnant. But it's like, normally I would work through a cold. Like pre-COVID, I would always work through a cold. And this one is so mild that it's like, if it's still like this tomorrow, I probably don't need to take any time off. The other really exciting thing is that at 23 weeks, this baby now is on the cusp of viability, which means if they were to be born now, like super, super premature, there is some chance that they would actually survive. Obviously, I don't want them to be born now. It's way too early. But that is so crazy to think that if I had the baby anytime from now, there's a chance that they could survive. And I looked it up, like the percentage, and at 22 weeks it said there was like a 10% chance of baby surviving, so that was pretty low. But 23 weeks it said 50% to 66%. So I'm assuming that means like now at the start of 23 weeks we're at a 50% chance. By the end of the week, when we're closer to 24 weeks, it'll be more like a 66% chance. But how insane is that? That there's like basically a 50% chance of survival if I had the baby right now. So I'm like, every day from here is a win. Like if there's a good chance they would survive now, every day they're getting stronger, their lungs are developing, their brain's developing, and I think every day I'm going to feel a little bit better that, you know, if something happened and I had the baby really early, from now there's like a chance that they'll be okay. Here we go. I'm not sure how well you can see this. I might put a screenshot on the screen as well, but basically this says that from 23 weeks, that is when hospitals in New Zealand will provide active treatment for babies that are born. So before this, they probably wouldn't even try, but now they would. I think that's pretty neat. Anyway, that is it for 23 weeks. It's the 6th of March and I am 24 weeks pregnant today, so this is going to be the final update for this video. I am just dodging COVID left, right and centre at the moment. It is everywhere in New Zealand right now. We have like 20,000 cases a day. We have friends with COVID, we have family with COVID, there are teachers at my school with COVID. And at this point, there are COVID cases of kids in every single class in my school. My class is one of the last to have a COVID case. And then it got updated on Friday and now there are 3 in my class. They were all household contacts though, so they've caught it from people they live with. So they've been isolating. They haven't actually been to school in over a week. So it's pretty safe in terms of hopefully no one's actually caught it from school. Not in my class anyway, but yeah, so I have 3 that actually have COVID right now. And I have been sick this week. Jonathan and I both have. I was sick first. I've been sick since like last Sunday. I was starting to get a bit of a sore throat then. So I had a few days off work. And then I gave it to Jonathan a couple days later. I took 2 COVID tests, both negative. I took one on Sunday not before I went to work because I didn't go to work. But yeah, I took one on Sunday which was negative, and then I took another one on Wednesday afternoon before I went back to school on Thursday. Both negative, so I think it's just a cold. But I still got like a bit of the cough left over from it. Anyway, I'm going to start with the kind of more negative things that I've been experiencing in the last week, and then we'll finish with some positive stuff. So I've been really like hot, like more so than just what the temperature is doing, like the actual weather, because quite often I will be so hot that I've got the aircon going in our house, and Jonathan will be cold. He'll be like wrapped up and like putting on jumpers and stuff. And normally I'm way colder than he is, but at the moment apparently I'm blasting the aircon when it's not cold, when it's not hot. And that's something that I don't even know, because if I feel hot, I feel hot, and I don't know what everybody else is feeling. My belly is starting to get in the way of things. Like I was sitting down in class the other day and trying to like bend over and pick something up off the floor, and I couldn't reach it because my belly was too big. I'm finding it hard sometimes to breathe deeply. Like I can breathe, it's fine, but like trying to get a good deep breath sometimes can be really challenging, especially like straight after dinner. And I think it's because I'm just so full and there's no space for anything, that my lungs just don't have space to like take a good deep breath. That's been a little frustrating, and to go along with that, I've started getting heartburn as well, which I've never had before in my life. You know, I know that heartburn, indigestion, acid reflux, all those things are really common during pregnancy, and I was like, I don't know if I've ever had any of these things before, because I don't really know what they feel like. So I wasn't sure if I'd ever experienced them before, but the other day after dinner, I had quite a lot of pain, like in my chest, and I don't know what else it would be. It went on for a long time actually, and with it was like the feeling that some of my dinner was trying to escape back up, almost like I tried to shove in too much and it literally didn't fit and was just like bubbling up near the surface. So yes, I think that's heartburn, and I did have it again the next day, not as bad. I think It was really bad that one night because we had takeaways and I got a fizzy drink with my takeaways. It was the first fizzy drink that I've had in at least a month, maybe more. And then I also had like a big snack. I ate almost a bag of chips because I was so hungry while we were waiting for dinner time. And then I also had chocolate after dinner. So I think it was just purely because I ate a lot, like way too much, and then also had the fizzy drink, which of course like that creates all this gas and air inside your stomach as well. So I think it was the combination of all of that, and it was just too much. That was really unpleasant. So the solution we've come up with for now, because when I'm at school my meals are pretty spaced out, so I eat a lot, but they're like an hour and a half to a couple hours apart. So we figured for dinner, because I'm always so hungry by the end of the day, I'm still going to try and eat as much as I'm eating because I feel like that's the amount that I need, but I'm going to try and space it out a bit. So I'll get the amount of dinner that I want to eat and then I'll separate it onto 2 plates, and I'll eat one, like basically half of my dinner I'll have at dinner time, and then I'll wait an hour and then I'll have the other half later. So we tried that for the first time, I tried that for the first time last night, and it was so much better. Even though I was like, I ate half of my dinner at first and I was still so hungry, I was like, I just want to eat the rest of it, but not worth it for the heartburn. So I think like all of those kind of tie in together, like my belly's getting bigger, everything's taking up more space, it's making it hard to breathe, it's giving me heartburn. So yeah, I'm having to change a few things up so that I don't have heartburn. My nails have also been growing faster. I've noticed that I've had to cut them just more often than I normally would, which again is really, really common. And my hair is probably growing faster as well. It's hard to tell with hair though, because, you know. Anyway, so those were the symptoms. Now, the fun part this week has been that we've like started interacting with the baby a little bit. So while I was sick and not going to work, I was like looking for things to do, and I started like playing piano for the baby, and I started reading a book for the baby as well. I've been reading Enid Blyton's The Faraway Tree collection. I've got the 3-in-1 big thick book. And of course I know the baby can't understand any of it yet, but I just thought it's a nice way for them to kind of hear my voice. And I don't know, I really enjoy the stories in there anyway, so I'll like wait until they're awake. I know they're awake. I'll wait until I feel some kicks and then like read or play the piano or something so that I know they're listening. And also we've been having like little poking conversations with them. So I had one the other morning. They were kicking me, they did a kick in one spot, so I poked them back in that spot, and then they kicked again, so I poked them again. We did that a couple of times, and then they did like a massive kick in that spot, and I was like, this is so much fun, like we're just talking to each other. And then Jonathan did the same thing with them last night. He was like shaking my belly and they were like dancing, or you know, it was going in 2 spots as well actually. It was probably like an arm and a leg or something, but yeah, he would like shake my belly and then they'd respond, and then he'd shake it a little bit again, they'd kick back. It's so much fun. And it's so, like I was saying to Jonathan last night, it's so funny when people talk about the baby as though they're not here yet. They always say like, when you have a baby, or when this, when that. But like, the baby is here. They're not out, obviously, but like, they are here. They are conscious sometimes. They are awake and interacting with us sometimes, which is so cool. I know it's not the same as them actually like being out and being here and being able to see them and stuff, but like, they're here. They're not here. And I feel like we're starting to bond, you know, like we're doing all these things and finding all these ways of interacting together without them even having been born yet. It's so cool. Anyway, so those like completely, totally made up for the heartburn and the struggling to breathe this week, because I was like, oh my god, these are some not fun symptoms. And then we did, you know, the little conversations, and I was like, oh no, this completely makes up for it. This is great. That is me at 24 weeks. I do have a midwife appointment this coming week, so that'll be the first thing that I pop on and talk about in the next update video. So yeah, that is what's coming. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.